St. Moses the Black, also known as St. Moses the Ethiopian or St. Moses the Strong. Moses lived in the 4th century. Although he was Ethiopian, Moses lived in Egypt as a slave to a government official. The government official could no longer tolerate Moses' immorality, as Moses was a very dishonest and violent person. So when suspicion arose that Moses committed murder, the government official dismissed Moses from his work. Moses ran away and became the leader of a group of bandits that had been known for a long time and feared because of their violent ways throughout the valley of the Nile. On one occasion, Moses attempted to commit a robbery. However, a dog kept barking at him, interrupting the robbery. This enraged Moses, so he headed to the house with the dog to go and kill the owner of the dog. To cross the river, Moses held his knife with his mouth by biting the handle as he swam to the other side. Once Moses got to the other side, he got to the house, and the owner of the dog had already fled and hidden. Upon Moses realizing that he could not find the owner of the dog, Moses killed the man's sheep. After living in such an immoral manner, it is unknown as to how Moses ended up staying in a monastery near Alexandria. It is believed that Moses was staying in the monastery to hide from the authorities. After some time of living in the monastery, Moses became inspired by the way of life of the monks and how their lives were centered around God. At that time, Moses insisted to the monks that he too wanted to be a part of their monastery and dedicate his life to God. At first, the monks thought that Moses was just saying this to remain hidden from the authorities in the monastery. For a longer time, the monks later kept noticing how Moses continuously showed more interest in changing his life. Moses was baptized, and he joined the monastic community of Sketis. As time advanced, Moses grew closer and closer to God. However, he did encounter many difficulties in his fight against his violent passions and temptations of his past that continually attacked him. Frustrated with himself, he sought for help and went to Abba St. Isidore. Moses explained to him that the more that he tried to overcome his sins and temptation, the more difficult it became to continue, and that at times he even thought about leaving the monastery. Abba St. Isidore took Moses to a terrace at the highest point of the monastery and showed him the sunrise very early in the morning. As the sun was slowly bringing light to the dark areas of the land, and he said, "Look at how the light slowly defeats the darkness. The same happens to the soul." After hearing this, Moses became motivated to continue in his fight against the temptation and the demonic attacks. Moses intensified his laborious works of charity, his prayers, and the strict fasting. Sometime after, Moses had a vision in which he saw a swarm of demons in the east and an army of angels in the west. However, the army of angels was far greater in number. Abba St. Isidore explained to Moses that his vision meant that he would be victorious in his fight against the temptation and the demonic attacks. After such a struggle, Moses little by little overcame his temptations. Once, some robbers entered the monastery to rob the monks. Moses saw the thieves and wrestled against them until he overpowered them, and he tied them up with a rope. He then took the robbers to the other monks and asked what he should do with them, since it would not be right for him to hurt them. The monks freed the thieves. But after seeing such a merciful act, the thieves decided to change their ways and to join the monastery after repenting. On another occasion, the abbot of the monastery gave the order to the monks that they should fast strictly. During this time, some visitors arrived at the monastery, and Moses prepared a meal for them to attend to them. One of the monks saw this, Moses cooking during this time of fasting, and accused Moses of breaking his fasting orders before the abbot. After speaking with Moses, the abbot realized that Moses was preparing the food for the visitors and commended Moses for attending to the visitors. The bishop of that region noticed Moses' spiritual progress and his great humbleness, so he decided to test him. One day, as the monks gathered, Moses approached the altar, and at that time the bishop stopped him, telling him that he did not belong there, since he was an unworthy Ethiopian, so he should get out. Upon hearing this, Moses left in silence. After seeing how Moses reacted in a humble manner to this insult, the bishop explained to Moses that it was a test, and he ordained him a priest. Several years later, Moses was recognized as a respected desert father. One other occasion, Moses was called to attend a meeting in the monastery to pronounce judgment on the faults of one of the monks. However, Moses did not attend. So Moses was called again, and this time he was told he needed to attend this judgment. When Moses was arriving to the meeting, he had a large bag of sand over his shoulder. The bag of sand had a hole in the back. So as Moses would walk towards the meeting, behind him a trail of sand was forming. The other monks asked what the meaning of this was. Moses responded, "My sins, like the sand, they fall and trail behind me. So as I come to judge this man, I do not see the sins that trail behind me. Without seeing my own sins, how can I judge this man?" After hearing this, the monk on the trial was forgiven. After many years, Moses became the spiritual father to many. Moses, along with other monks, left to visit St. Macarius the Great. St. Macarius said, "Among you there is one that will receive the crown of a martyr." Moses replied, "I believe it shall be me, for he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword." He said this as he remembered how he used to live before his conversion. The monks, along with Moses, returned to another monastery that they were living in, and it was there that the word of St. Macarius became reality. Moses noticed a group of Berbers were attacking near the monastery. Moses told the others to escape before the attackers arrived. Once the robbers made their way into the monastery, they looted the monastery. Moses and a few monks remained in the monastery. The robbers killed Moses and the other monks. Moses did not resist. St. Moses died in the year 405, and up until this day, his relics remain in the Barameos monastery. This is a Coptic monastery located in Wadi el Nadrun, Egypt. Like St. Moses the Black, let us use all sins of our past and present, with no exceptions of how grave our transgressions may be, to transform these evils into repentance and bear fruits in our rebirth through Christ. May our intentions and actions reflect our change of heart, letting us serve as an example to all who have stumbled where we too had once fallen.